Cars, the major theory, Alex Bale.
Mayor, what are you
Cars
talking about?
is a weird franchise. The world in the Cars movies is like ours, except for the
They
small
are
detail that
just like
everything
human.
is cars instead of humans.
Basically, the cars are human,
Which
and
is a
they
very
do
weird premise
human
for a
stuff.
movie franchise, and it only gets weirder the more you think about it.
Weird?
Here are just a few things that everyone always loves to bring up. In Cars 2,
What?
we see a car pope riding in a sentient pope-mobile. So
Wait, what? Car Pope? I ain't a sentinel Pope. What? So we talking about the Pope? I don't even know what the Pope is. Like, I never noticed anything about a Pope.
Catholicism exists in this universe, which implies there was a Jesus Chrysler who died
There
for
is
our car
Jesus?
sins. There is a Cars TSA, which implies Cars 9/11 probably
wait.
happened. There is a World
Wait,
War II
what?
Army veteran car, so this universe also probably
that
had
one
Car
actually
Hitler
makes
and
sense.
every other historical figure.
There's certain things in the Cars universe that I never actually paid attention to. Like, if I were really sitting down and paying more attention to all the Cars movies, I would actually find real things that matches what we see in real life.
And tragedy. Now, there has already been endless discussion about these movies, and the question that everyone loves to ask the most
discussion
is,
of theories
what
about the
exactly
car.
are cars? Because how can cars exist without humans? Everything about the way they look has clearly been specific.
I thought that the cars had like the human brain in them, and the brain would like connecting to all the stuff inside them and start moving, but I don't think that's true, but I thought it would.
By and for humans. I mean, what purpose do these tiny little door handles have in sentient car world? So, because of this, a lot of people like to believe that Cars takes place in some kind of post-apocalypse after all the humans died out. Maybe there was an AI smart car uprising, or maybe somehow the humans became their cars, or whatever. And for years, people have debated this, and no one could agree on what the cars actually are. Not even the creators, who all have conflicting things to say about this franchise. But I think the answer is actually pretty obvious. If you look at just the Cars movies themselves, and not the different creator interviews, or the Pixar theory, or Easter eggs from other movies, then it becomes pretty clear that this world has never
if we just look directly just at the car theory, and just at a car moving, no other theory, no connection to the car theories or to the cars, then we'll actually figure out what really is happening or why they actually moving without humans.
We can clearly see that throughout all the history of this world, everything has always been cars. Even all the way back to
definitely has been cars.
I don't know much about
every history.
I know the logo for Dino Code kind of
cars.
looks like a real dinosaur for some reason, but other than that, one contradiction, it's just
you
straight
look
up
at
car
it, it's
dinosaurs.
made
It's
out
always been cars.
What happened to the dinosaurs now?
And I know people like to say, oh, maybe the cars are just recreating human history, but even if that's somehow
they
true,
can't
the
be
human theories
recreating
still
human
don't
history,
make sense because
but it still
in the
make no
Cars
sense.
world,
How they're
everything
moving
is
and doing
cars.
everything.
And when I say everything, I mean everything.
What?
The animals in this universe are cars.
Yeah,
the
the animals
plants are cars. Literally,
Wait, huh?
mountains and clouds are car or vehicle.
One thing that really confused me about the plants. How the plant can be made out of cars? Like, I seen the animals, I seen certain statue, the clouds made of cars, but the plants? That kind of fishy.
Shaped. This is not a world where just humans were replaced by cars. This is a world where everything, even the physical world itself, is car-shaped. We can even see a periodic table
the planet probably made of cars
too. That's
like,
been renamed to the
and
automotive
they're
table elements.
shaped
And
as
it's
a car.
unfortunately too small and blurry to read, but there is a full-size version of this poster in Disney California's Cars-themed area that seems to show us that even the elements themselves have been renamed to car puns. And I like to think that this implies that even on an atomic level, the elements themselves that make up this universe are also car-shaped. So no, I do not believe that humans
everything made out of cars? Like, I don't get it.
Existed in this world. This is just an alternate reality where things are car-shaped. And I think there are two possible explanations as to why. You can either take a carvolutionist perspective and assume this is a universe where the car shape just happens to be the most efficient shape for survival and entropy. Kind of like how we can see the golden ratio spiral everywhere in our world. Or like how different animals can independently evolve into crabs because the crab shape is just so badass. Or we can take a carrationism perspective and assume there is an all-powerful car god out there that has shaped and renamed the world into his image. We do know there is religion in this world, and there has been mentions of a manufacturer in place of the word god.
You're
alive! So, you know, maybe car god did it. So that is my Alex Bale take on all of these Cars theories.
Hey, Alex, I need to stop you right there. You always cutting it off to an actual plot twist. But this time, I actually agree with you for cutting it off right here. Cause now we really gotta think before we even hit play on what it really is. Cars, the movie really is.
If that's not as fun or dark and edgy as a post-apocalyptic human theory, but I think it's undeniably what the actual movies themselves
make it even darker.
Now that basically covers all the stuff that everyone loves talking about with the Cars movies. But the real reason I'm making this video is because there's still something that most Cars theories never talk about. Something that most theorists just pretend doesn't exist because it makes the weird and convoluted Cars franchise look tame in comparison. Yes, that is correct. This is no longer a Cars theory video. This is a theory about Mater's tall tales.
We went from learning about the Cars universe and the three different movies of Cars, and now we about to get to the dark side of Mater Tall Tales. So Mater Tall Tales is connected to something with Cars.
Contained to the fact that they are sentient cars. Other than that, they're just kind of normal.
I don't know what that word
sentient
cars is,
for when it comes
it's something
to Mater.
My name say.
Mater?
Yeah, like.
Oh wait, this is the first time
Mater is Lightning McQueen's best friend. He's kind of a dumb, lovable tow truck who was born in Radiator Springs, or I guess maybe in a mansion. They kind of retconned it in the Disney Plus
I don't know.
And he's just a pretty normal, simple guy.
He won 3 piston cups. He did what in his cup?
Except for the fact that he keeps accidentally ending up in weird, impossible situations, like how in Cars 2 he accidentally became an international spy for the entire movie.
He became a spy out of nowhere.
Like a good neighbor, Mater is there.
And then got knighted by the Queen.
That in Cars 2, it's kind of fishy how Mater became a spy out of nowhere. Just after one of the Asians was getting his ass whooped in the bathroom. In the bathroom! Like, how you get your ass whooped in the bathroom by 2 losers, basically?
Oh, Mater.
And if you thought Cars 2 was a weird departure for the Cars franchise, well then prepare yourself for the insanity that is Mater's Tall Tales.
I used to be a
Mater's Tall Tales is really
Rescue Squad
crazy. I don't know how long it is.
These were a series of shorts that featured Mater telling Lightning McQueen different convoluted stories from his life, like the time he became a fire truck, or a wrestler, or an astronaut, or when he met aliens.
The time Mater started lying to McQueen. And at that point, McQueen probably did have to believe him. But McQueen probably believed him because McQueen wasn't living in Radiator Springs for that long. So he didn't know anything about Mater's past before he got there.
Literally time travel.
Later, Mater.
And obviously, you'd assume that these are all just made-up stories because they're called Tall Tales. But at the end of every episode, they're always proven to be true.
That did not happen. Houston has another problem. Roger. That did not happen.
Mater, there's no such thing as time
I forgot about that.
By the way,
that Mater ended up proving to Lightning McQueen that his Tall Tales
you make it.
Okay, but maybe these are just weird, non-canon shorts. They aren't necessarily connected to the main Cars movies that we care about.
Another show
well, in Cars 3, we can see a poster that proves that Monster Truck Mater did actually happen. The creators had a a chance to distance themselves from Mater's tall tales and instead decided to double down and make them officially canon. But the most confusing thing that happens in all of these shorts is halfway through every episode when Lightning McQueen questions the stories.
Jumping Carburetor Canyon?
Oh, I swear to God. I'm just like Lightning McQueen. Every time I started looking or watching Mater Tall Tale, I always think, how is that even possible? Why is that even happening? I don't even think that's true. And I always say that. But I don't say it, but I think about it.
Well, you remember. You was there too.
What?
Ready, buddy?
You really expect me to believe that?
Well, you should. You was there too.
Mater reveals that Lightning was also in all of these stories, despite him having no memory.
How that even possible?
Don't you remember? You was there too.
What?
But remember, we know
is
these
that
stories are true,
possible?
so why doesn't McQueen remember? Well, there is a funny theory that Lightning McQueen might have dementia from all of his many accidents.
That's definitely has to be one of them. Lightning McQueen is one of them persons that all get in an accident.
And
like, if you compare Lightning McQueen to Deadpool, Lightning McQueen is like Deadpool, where he getting so much head trauma accident that 9 out of 10, he end up forgetting certain things and then still be getting the same problems.
It does feel like the easiest explanation, but there's one small detail that contradicts it. In Moon Mater becomes an astronaut and goes to the moon.
I have a problem. He needs a tow.
Where on earth are we gonna get a tow?
Well, that guy's got a tow.
And later, we of course reveal that Lightning McQueen was there too.
No way.
Yes, way. But that was nothing compared to you.
But there's a very strange detail at the start of this episode that doesn't quite make sense. Before Mater gets his astronaut suit, why is he blue? Now, this isn't the first time we've seen
Mater, that is true. How you get your white and black astronaut suit when you get on the moon and in the rocket, but you're blue before all that started? So why that even happened?
Mater. In Cars 1, there was a brief flashback that showed Radiator Springs in its prime, and we could see that back then, Mater was a clean blue tow truck.
Long ago.
So this Moon Mater story must have taken place around that time. But this doesn't make sense.
Why
because
brown?
Lightning McQueen only met Mater after he was covered in years worth of dirt and old dents.
You can tell. Cause look, if you look at right there on the side, you can tell that Mater was actually blue. I swear to God, I didn't watch real closely at Mater. I didn't really look at it real closely. Damn, that's one thing I should really pay attention to.
Oh, how could he have possibly been in this story? So even if Lightning forgot, the timeline still doesn't make sense. And it's not like they even needed to make Mater blue in this short. The creators put in extra effort here just to make their story make less sense. But why? And it's not even just Lightning that doesn't remember this. In Cars 1, Mater says this about a road Lightning made.
It's like it was paved by angels.
Oh, I tell you what, I bet even the roads on the moon ain't this smooth.
I bet even the roads on the moon ain't this smooth.
Oh,
but
why would
at this point, hasn't Mater already been to the moon? Isn't I bet kind of a weird thing to say if Mater should know for a fact whether or not the moon is this smooth? It seems like even Mater himself had no memory of this story. A story that is proven to be true at the end of the episode.
You look at Mater Tall Tale, right?
Has another problem.
You look at his Tall Tale. And like, Mater do remember it when he's telling the story to Lightning McQueen, and then tell Lightning McQueen, oh, you was there. But then when you look in the movie and stuff, it like certain things that Mater tell Lightning McQueen in Tall Tale, he don't remember at all. So that kind of fishy.
So how does any of this make sense? It's almost like these stories only become true after Mater tells them, which kind of implies that
Mater have reality warp.
Look at the way
I have
Lightning
no clue what
reacts
that
when we
was.
reveal he's also in the stories.
Well, don't you remember? You was there too.
What?
You was there too.
What?
That was nothing compared to you.
It's not like he'd been there the whole time. It's
Yeah.
more like he was literally plucked from time and space and teleported into this story at this exact moment
had
just
to.
because Mater said the words, "You was there too."
Yeah. Cause you gotta understand, when Mater telling the story, he's telling the story. But then it's like he plucked Lightning McQueen in from some type of timeline and just put Lightning McQueen in there to make it seem like Lightning McQueen was literally in that story or literally in there with him.
And then there's also the fact that even though these stories presumably take place many years ago in many different places, every single time, as soon as Mater finishes telling them, something from the story coincidentally appears right next to them.
That crazy.
Doctor.
So basically, like, Mater trying to like
ridiculous
prove
thing
to
I've
Lightning
ever
McQueen
heard.
that his story is real. Well, it's something that I think Mater is
Again, it's
doing.
like the mere act of Mater telling the story is what causes it to happen, which implies that somehow Tow Mater, the simple Radiator Springs tow truck, has the god-level ability to change reality just by speaking. Listen, I know this idea sounds really stupid and crazy, but if we look back through the entire Cars franchise with this in mind, suddenly a lot of the weird inconsistencies in this dumb franchise start to make a lot more sense. Let's start with something small like Mater's birthplace changing. Originally, we were shown that he was born in Radiator Springs.
You've never been outside Radiator Springs, have you?
Nope. But in the new Disney Plus show, Cars on the Road, we are told that he was instead born in a rich family and grew up in a mansion on the east side of America.
You
Grew up here.
Mater, you definitely
Let's go
lied.
back and take a look.
At any point of time, don't sit there and believe Mater. Even if Mater tall tale is probably true, don't even think it's actually true. Good. Now Mater is definitely playing with our emotion, our mind, and our intelligence.
At the first time, everyone in Radiator Springs learned about this.
Learn about what?
Mater is a complicated guy.
Complicated guy.
Boggles the mind, man.
Non ci posso credere.
Mater clearly just told them the story about his family and where he grew up. A story that nobody knew about before,
Wait a minute. You have a sister?
but now is suddenly proven true.
You grew up here? Yep.
Just like Mater's tall tales. I think this continuity error was caused by Mater's reality warping powers.
You was there too.
In the first Cars movie, we can see a photo of Conehenge, which is the Cars world's version of Stonehenge. But later, in Cars on the Road, we see it's now been changed to Carhenge.
Sign said,
Carhenge.
Why is this structure so inconsistent? Well,
what
why
are
did
we-
McQueen and Mater go to Carhenge in the first place?
look, you picked the last three stops. Carhenge. Anyway.
Because it was Mater's idea.
You picked the last three stops.
He probably previously told Lightning about Carhenge, which caused it to change.
So, you're telling me Mater can change the fabric of the time just by speaking? Who in the right mind does that? Who a Mater really is?
Okay, but these are just little inconsistencies. What about something big? How about the fact that the Cars franchise, a pretty simple series about cars racing each other, suddenly decided to make an entire movie about the funny side character becoming an international spy?
Mater, we've got to get that bomb.
Why didn't my death ray kill you?
Death Ray? Doesn't that sound more like the plot of a Mater's Tall Tale? Well, actually, look at what happens at the end of the movie when we cut back to Radiator Springs.
So there we was, guns drawn. We was goners. But then, out of nowhere, this beautiful spy car swoops in from the sky to save me.
That's a very entertaining story, young man.
Oh, Minnie, please, come on. None of this happened.
No, you're quite right. It does sound a bit far-fetched.
This is Holly Shiftwell.
I'm Mater's girlfriend.
Cars 2 was a Mater's tall tale. It follows the exact same formula.
That did not happen.
See you later.
Alright. If you look at that green car, look at me. I'll tell you. It's a bunch of baloney right here.
None of this happened.
I'm Mate's girlfriend.
And it all happened just because Mater spoke it into existence. This theory literally makes the insanity of Cars 2 make more sense.
You mean like in
I
Sharknado?
thought, look, y'all. I thought everything happened before, not after Mater already experienced it before. So Mater can say all this, and everything happened after Mater's speech.
Mater is there.
This dumb State Farm joke also makes so much more sense now because Mater has the exact same powers from those State Farm commercials.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, Dave.
With the sandwich.
Oh, yeah. And the girl from 4E? And can I get a hot tub?
Well, don't you remember you was there too?
What?
Mater is unironically the most powerful character in all of fiction. He could literally beat anyone in a fight just by uttering the words, "You was there too." And I believe that he has been secretly manipulating the events of this entire franchise for his own benefit. Now, I don't really have any strong evidence to prove this, but to me, the start of the first Cars movie also kind of feels like another tall tale.
Why?
Morning, sleeping beauty. Boy, I was wondering when you was gonna wake up.
Why would you say the first part
A famous race car just happens to accidentally get stuck in the same town as Mater, and they become best friends for life, and he decides to never leave because Mater is just so cool.
I'm best friend, what are you gonna do?
That just kind of sounds like something Mater would make up to manifest a cool, famous best friend.
I knew I made a good choice.
Mater definitely probably made that up so he can capture a cool best friend.
Also, the way that lightning gets stuck in Radiator Springs requires so many insane, unlikely coincidences that all have to happen perfectly at the same time that it kind of feels like it was caused by some kind of divine intervention. Both Lightning and his transport truck Mac needed to fall asleep at this exact part of the interstate, and
there's certain things in here that it actually connected to Mater and his little tall tales, but this one, oopsie. Let's say that.
Also, at the same time, these random hooligans needed to show up and decide to mess with Mac.
Oh yeah. I don't know what happened to them after
and
they
also,
did all
this
that.
Lightning McQueen toy needed to fall at the right time and land on this specific button that opens the back of the truck.
Yeah. But
and also, this guy needed to sneeze at this exact moment to cause Lightning to fall out of the truck. And also, there needed to be a similar-looking red truck nearby to confuse Lightning into driving towards Radiator Springs. And also, this cop needed to be here, and his engine needed to be backfiring, which caused Lightning to think that he was being shot at.
He's shooting at me! Why is he shooting at me?
Which caused him to drive uncontrollably into Radiator Springs and wreck the town. Which finally caused them to imprison Lightning in the town with Mater.
You was there too?
What?
Every single one of those insane coincidences needed to happen at that exact moment for Lightning McQueen to meet Mater and become his best friend. Which honestly makes more sense if it was all somehow actually
really don't make
divine
any
intervention
sense.
from Mater.
I know I made a good choice.
And what?
My best friend. You was there too.
Now, how did Mater obtain this god power? I honestly do not know. And believe me, I have looked everywhere in every piece of Cars media for an explanation. I even read the fucking comic books. But unfortunately, there is
I never read the comics.
Mater just has this ability to change reality for some unexplained reason, and he is using it to live his best life and go on fun adventures.
Reason Mater just got this ability that make him just do evil things and live an evil life.
With his best friend, Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
Mater, how'd you like to come and see the world with me?
You mean it?
And you know what? good for him. We can even see in the Cars 2 credits that after the movie, they travel the weird car-shaped world together and visit all the great car wonders of the world. And of course, they climb the iconic weird car-shaped mountains of this weird franchise. And that is my Cars theory. So thank you very much for watching.
Bale, why are you always doing this? I already told you halfway into the video, maybe in the middle of the video, stop doing this. Now, you're missing one key thing about Mayor, and it's gonna actually blow in everybody's face.
Hang on a second. Is this world's Matterhorn shaped like Mater?
What?
And yeah, look, it's even been renamed to be spelled like him. Wait a second. There is an all-powerful car god out there that has shaped and renamed the world into his image. Wait, is Mater the reason why everything is cars? Is Mater just straight up God?
Wait, huh? No. Hey, y'all. Any cars, any vehicle, Mater, it should not be the god. If we have Mater at the god, hey, right then there, kill yourself. Alright? Maybe empty your engine. You can't take your engine. No, take away your gas. Put yourself on E. Like, to kill your own car at that point.
So, in the Cars franchise, everything is cars. Except, there is one contradiction to that shows up repeatedly in almost every piece of Cars media. The logo for Dinoco kind of looks like a real dinosaur for some reason. The Dinoco logo. Dinoco is one of the racing brands that shows up all the time in this franchise, and their logo is a silhouette of a big dinosaur. But it's not the dino cars that we've seen in museums. It's clearly just a regular, non-car shaped dinosaur. It's a weird contradiction to the everything is car rule that pops up all over this franchise. Now, if there is some kind of car god that shaped the world into cars, why would he be so inconsistent with dinosaurs? It's a strange thing to leave out. It's almost like whoever created this world didn't know much about dinosaurs. Does that remind you of anyone?
I don't know much about these dino things. What happened to the dinosaurs now? I don't know much about these dino things. Well, dadgum, McQueen boy, I tell you what, I sure do like me some cars. Wouldn't it be fun if everything was cars?
I don't know about that, Mater. That doesn't really make any sense.
Well, shoot, you should know, McQueen.
You was there too.
What?
Yo, if that video was wild, you haven't seen anything yet. I put my funniest reaction right here in this playlist, and YouTube thinks you love this special video next. Click one of those, hit the sub button if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.